So we're ready to go on? Welcome, everybody, to the regular Board of Trustee meeting for Tuesday, January 9th, 2024. Then, I need a motion to open tonight's meeting. Is there a motion? Trustee Rosenberg, second. Trustee Galen, all in favor. Meeting is hereby open. Will you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. You'll see that Trustee Rosen Asher is appearing virtually due to unexpected circumstances, and Trustees Sullivan and Patino are excused. Due to the weather, we've moved things around, so we'd appreciate people just bearing with us. Before I move forward, there is, unfortunately, there was a death that I'd like to acknowledge, and if we could take a moment of silence after I just read a little bit about James Fitzsimmons, Jimmy, who was married to Lorraine, who was a longtime employee of the village in the court system. He died recently, and I just want to talk a little bit about Jimmy, who was the proud son of Irish immigrants, Agnes and John. He was born and raised in the South Bronx along with 4 siblings. He and Lorraine have been married for over 53 years. In 1972, they moved to Dobbs Ferry and raised their 4 children, Patty Ann, Caroline, Jimmy, and John. Jimmy served in the U.S. Navy for 2 years. He was a New York City police officer for 21 years and a member of Local 147, New York City Sandhogs. Jimmy was preceded in death by his parents, his sister, and his brothers. In lieu of flowers, contributions can be made to the New York City Police Department's Widows and Children's Fund or the Richard E. Fitzsimmons Widow and Orphans Fund. And we really, our hearts go out to the family, Lorraine, and to his family, so if we could have a moment of silence, I think that would be appropriate. Thank you. I also have a proclamation. I don't think anyone's here to accept it today, but there was also another death that touched the community. I have a proclamation for that person, and this is in memory of Stephen Wilsey. And Stephen, who was born in the village of Dobbs Ferry in 1961, he can actually his family could trace back to people who fought under the Americans under General George Washington and General Rochambeau during the Revolutionary War. He had a first lieutenant who fought with them. Stephen was an avid outdoorsman who compromised for no one. He despised bureaucracy and tyranny and spent his life as a man of principle and honor. Stephen was one of the 2 original employees at Hudson Social, and he spent the last 8 years of the morning at Hudson Social. Hundreds of loyal customers discovered Stephen's hospitality, and Hudson Social became a staple in the community. On December 2nd, 2023, the village of Dobbs Ferry lost Stephen, and while we mourn his loss, we will forever honor Stephen's memory, and his memory will be kept in the hearts of all lives that he touched. As the mayor and with the trustees, we recognize the honor of and the life of Stephen Wilsey and express our appreciation for his valued contributions to the village. And through the authority of my office, I do hereby proclaim Friday, January 12th, 2024, as the Stephen Wilsey Day in the village, and direct that this proclamation be carried throughout the village for people of goodwill to see and know. So again, our hearts and condolences go out to Stephen, his family, and to the people at Hudson Social who are always happy to see his face at Hudson Social.
Ron sent a message and just said to you, Liz, Matt, and I are both on via Zoom. One of us will pick up the proclamation in the next few days. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Ron, we appreciate it, and I'll leave it with Liz, and I appreciate all the efforts that you put forth in that.
Mr. Mayor, I see that Rob is in as an attendee. He should be moved up to a panelist.
Okay. Let me know when he is. Okay. We're going to
you hear
move to
me?
the. Yes, we can hear you, Rob. We can't see you, but we hear you.
Okay, thanks. Oh, here's the video. Hold on.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're going to combine what was part of the workshop and put it into the Board of Trustees regular meeting. And the item that was marked for the proposed zoning amendments regarding the workshop will be moved to a different date. And we hope to get that on for the next meeting. Right now, we're going to consider appointments, so we're going to do the appointment of Darlene Manning to the competitive, non-exempt position of court clerk. We had received a memo, I believe, from the judge regarding this situation. So is there a motion to appoint Darlene Manning to the competitive, non-exempt position of court clerk? Trustee Rosenberg, second. Trustee Taylor, all in favor? That passes unanimously. Second item is to appoint Tracy Foley to the exempt, non-competitive position of court clerk. Again, we do have a memo from the judge describing the situation. Is there a motion to appoint Tracy Foley to the exempt, non-competitive position of court clerk? Trustee Galen, second. Trustee Taylor, all in favor? That passes unanimously. The public hearing that was scheduled for today regarding the zoning text amendment to authorize the flexibility in the assessment of fees regarding special permits regarding accessory dwelling units, that will be continued to the next Board of Trustee meeting. Laura Lee, do I officially have to open this public hearing and then adjourn it, or can I just simply adjourn it?
Yeah, it has already been opened, so you can just take a motion to adjourn it, and if you could give the date, which is the 23rd.
Okay, so is there a motion to adjourn the public hearing regarding zoning text amendments regarding the accessory dwelling units to January 23rd? Trustee Rosenberg, second. Trustee Galen, all in favor? That passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anybody here for courtesy of the floor? Yes. Come on up. Tell us who you are and where you live, and you have 3 minutes.
Good evening, Mayor and Trustees. I'm Luke Mullen, a resident of Dobbs Ferry. I know it's early, very early to bring up this topic, but it's better to mention it early rather than later. It's the Dobbs Ferry Festa. This idea would give residents a better place probably to have it for this year. Due to the location, I think that spot that we had it for previous years was kind of like closed-in buildings and surroundings, and due to business and living conditions, I don't think it was kind of attractive for the public. So my ideal spots to have it is the Gould Park or Waterfront Park, primarily due to the open space and also free parking. And we can also use it for other community events. It would look nice, and other events we can pull off there. and it's not interfering with the traffic on the main roads of it's Main Street and Cedar Street, I was thinking. And
Thank you for that. Thank you for that idea. And we'll bring it up to the committee. Thank you.
Oh, it sounds good.
Anybody else for courtesy of the floor? Is there anybody online?
No one has their hand up.
Okay. So let's move to the agenda. We had a discussion regarding the replacement of new garbage slash recycling receptacles for the downtown. Steve, you want to come up? I know you sent a memo, or Jennifer sent a memo regarding it. So can you just clarify?
Yeah, back in June of 2023, Sustainability came out with approximately $62,000 in new garbage pails. We're not against it, but we want to kind of break it down into a couple different phases.
Okay. And you had,
Phase one would be just be doing just the downtown. So that would be like 12 sets of garbage pails and recycling for $30,000. Phase two would be Ashford Avenue, like the bus stops on Ashford Avenue. And that would be about 18,000. And then phase three would be add additional pails to the waterfront in Gould Park. And that would be about 20,000.
Is this for
And these
budgeting?
pails are the ones that match currently down at the waterfront now.
Is,
They'll all be the same kind of pails.
is the reason for phasing it, to phase it over the course of multiple budgets? Or
We can do it that
just
way.
for
It's just-
convenience?
Convenience, because none of this has been budgeted for.
But when you, I think what Matt's asking is when you broke it down into the phases, is that because you need to sequence it for some reason? Or you're just saying, here are the three areas and
These are the
we should
three.
just consider them as
Consider.
separate areas? I had a question. I think this sounds totally amazing and exciting. I was curious, do you think if we did have to kind of do a priority order, is there a reason not to start with one of the areas where we don't yet have bins? Since we do have bins, even though they're in deteriorating condition in the downtown, should we start with the areas where we're adding new bins and then replace the broken ones last? Or is there a reason you wanted to replace the broken
I
ones
just
first?
think replacing the ones that are broken now would look
Okay.
nicer for the community.
Okay.
I just have a question. Do we currently have 12 sets now in downtown?
We have probably 6.
Okay, so we're going to be increasing the number. Okay.
And the downtown probably has, I'm guessing, but has more traffic,
Yes.
more people are using, probably empty those more.
Yep.
Well, if there are no bins, you're not emptying any elsewhere,
we're
but
also-
just there are more people around the downtown.
I know they wanted to put them at like the Springhurst steps, but we're requesting that the school will put them on their property. Down at the bottom of the steps.
So
And also the aqueduct at their entrances.
So would that be the,
That's
you
their
would have to
property.
bring those, or the mayor would bring those requests to the schools and to the state? Is that how that would work?
yeah.
Would it be the state or would it be the aqueduct, the Friends of the Aqueduct? Would be the park.
State parks.
So, Rob, this is not in our budget for this, or Jeff, maybe this is not in our budget currently, right?
That's correct.
Yes, that's correct, yes.
How do the trustees feel about putting this off until June 2nd, or, next year for the first round?
Are you?
Is there any way I could see the trustees? Because I can't see. I mean,
If
I
you-
can't see that.
I think
board.
if you set your Zoom to be, instead of the panels,
I switched it.
to be whoever's speaking,
Yeah, now I can see you, but when Stephen Trezor was speaking, then I lose you. So that's all. So if you're going to have a discussion and he's at the mic, then I can't see you. So, okay, that's all.
Steve, are you proposing to put this in 3 different budget years, or you're saying put them all in one budget year?
We can do 3 different budgets, or we can just do one and just itemize when we're gonna get them.
Jeff, what is your feeling about $60,000 at once? Bring it over 2 years, what do you think?
We can make it happen either way.
And
Is there a savings if we do all at once, or is there a long lead item to get them?
Read my mind.
maybe we could ask if
I can
there's some
find out
sort of
if we can
quantity.
buy, yeah,
discount.
quantity we can get for it.
Yeah, I would imagine it's not going to get cheaper if we wait. So
No.
if we know this is what it is, and I would imagine there'd be some kind of discount for buying more than buying less, right?
Yeah, and listen,
Yes.
if we could do phase one in this fiscal year without being, imprudent with money, then phases 2 and 3 starting in June, when it's a budgeted item, that seems like we wouldn't have to wait for the whole thing until June. We could get it going now.
I think more people are out and around in the summer too. There's probably more. I don't know,
Sure, but
Steve,
even-
you would agree. It's probably more anecdotally, you think there's more trash and recycling when it's warm out. People are out in the street more.
Right, but the summer really kind of, like the outdoor weather starts in April.
No, I'm saying.
Well, there's
it's
also
done-
residents and businesses there too, so.
Right, so why don't you do this, Steve? Why don't you find out if there's a savings to buy, buying it in bulk? And even if you do order it, how much lead time, how long will it take to get it?
Okay.
And then Jeff, if you could tell us if you could find $30,000 in this budget, let us know how that works.
Yeah, as we get closer to April, we'll have a clearer picture on that.
I also just want to remind everyone that we're gonna, have the recommendations from the downtown improvement grant. And we don't know what those are gonna include and what we can use the money for, so it could be that we will have some money that we don't know that we have to use for something like this.
That's a good point,
Maybe if
a
we
very
put
good
it
point,
in,
thanks for that, yeah. Okay, but you're looking to see how much if we buy in bulk and what the lead time is to get it?
Yep.
Okay,
You got it, thank
thank
you.
you.
And do you want to, will you be able to start the conversation with the state?
Yeah, I could write a letter, and Rob, if you could just, we could talk about where exactly I'm sending this request to. Okay, for the
State and
New
the
York
schools?
State's parks system, or whatever that's called, and the schools.
I'm sorry, what was the name of the grant?
It's not a grant, we're looking to have them accept responsibility for placing these garbage cans on their property.
For the aqueduct.
Yeah, I think the aqueduct has its own, it's part of the park system, but I think it has its own subsection, or,
I think it might be part of the Taconic region of the New York
New York
State
State,
part.
it's DEC or Parks, something.
Right, that's why Rob's got to figure it out.
Yeah.
All right, I'll figure it. I'm actually meeting about the aqueduct with the New York State Parks folks on Friday to discuss
Oh,
the
that's great
village
timing.
hall, the drainage. So
Right,
I
so then
can
why don't
certainly
you
bring that up.
discuss with Steve and what he's looking for, and you can bring it up, and then if we could formalize it with a written request.
Okay.
And certainly you have the contacts for the schools, so we can get them to do something about Springhurst.
All right, action item number 2 is regarding the fire truck, so you guys both want to come on up?
So we have a 2013 F-550 with a Warner body on it that carries the hydraulic tools. We've now moved to battery-operated tools. So being that that has an onboard generator and all the tools on it, we were trying to sell just the tools. The company from West Virginia came in and offered us $125,000.
That's great.
So we talked about it and we figured we can let that go down to a pickup truck, being that we have less equipment to carry on that. We can move a lot of equipment to the apparatus. We're also going from a diesel engine down to a gas.
Okay. It sounds like it's a good plan to me. I'm surprised.
It's definitely a home run. That truck's 11 years old and we're turning around probably 80% of what we spent on it.
Okay. Sounds like it's, I know you have a plan to buy something and replace it.
Yeah, we're
and-
looking at a 1500 Silverado. It's going to be in frame of 85 to 90,000.
But for Jeff there, it looks like, if I read the memo correctly, that there's a $25,000 net gain there. That's $5,000 short of some garbage cans.
Budget.
There we go.
Okay, so we're gonna move this to an action item, but I just want to make sure that all the trustees are okay with this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's great. It's a great plan. It's, you guys being on top of it and making good decisions.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
I think that's it for the,
Yeah.
right. Okay, now we're going to move into the regular meeting. So I have. Bear with me for 1 minute. If I can't do it, I'll just do it.
The presentation that's in the packet was, oh, here.
Okay, action item number, what am I missing?
Well, there's the Resiliency Advisory Group, which I don't think we're doing today, but
Let me just put that on. Action item number 1.
Right.
So action item number 1 is to consider a resolution to accept the resignation of DPW employee Anthony Cellini. I know we have a letter from Anthony dated December 29th, 2023, where he submits his resignation as of January 12th, 2024. And we appreciate everything that he's done for us on behalf of the village. So is there a motion to accept the resignation of DPW employee Anthony Cellini, effective as of January 12th, 2024? Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee Rosen Asher, all in favor. That passes unanimously. Again, we thank him for everything that he's done. Action item number 2 is to consider a resolution to authorize the village administrator to renew the agreement with Park Mobile for parking payment services. Rob, maybe you want to elaborate a little bit. I know that the agreement was for a 3-year term, and I believe it is up. And you are in the midst of negotiating a new contract, a new extension.
That's correct, Mayor. If I can elaborate, we actually had a telephone conversation with the representatives there. It expired last November. Right now, they're looking to extend it. We were able to negotiate. It'll be another 3 years, but it's also 1 year at a time by written notice, so it's not automatic because we don't know what the future holds. I know the rates are going up. Right now, the contract states it's a 30 cent per transaction fee. We know other neighborhood municipalities have gone up to 55 cents on their renegotiations. They're willing to hold the 30 cents for us at the moment. So that's why I wanted to break it down, every year, so we have an option. It'll only, depending on what the future holds, they do have the option to change mid-year to ask for like a 60-day notice for any increases. But right now, they're willing to hold it at 30 cents per transaction, which is borne on the user.
And what's our ability to get out of the contract if they were to double the price? I don't know if Laura Lee, you've looked at it or not.
I haven't
Can-
seen it.
In the material here, it says it's, you can terminate for convenience with 60 days notice. Rob, are there competitors to Park Mobile that we've spoken to that can maybe create some leverage so that we can lock in that rate for the 30-cent rate for longer?
We haven't reached out yet. I think this is the first 3 years that we were up, and I wasn't sure if it was going to create any further disturbance, but I can certainly.
Oh, it surely would.
Else. Competition is a good thing. But again, they are a major player in the area. But
Yeah.
I'd be happy to look at that.
So 3 years ago, when we looked at them, Rick, Chief, and I spoke to a number of vendors. They were the cheapest at the time, and the credit card percentage and flat fee that they took back from the village's proceeds were the cheapest. So, yeah, it probably does make sense to see what's out there still. Or
Yeah,
now.
I believe that they have more competition now than they had 3 years ago. I was in Pleasantville today, downloaded an app that was similarly easy to use called Parbo. But there are these things springing up all over the place. They're generally the same sort of level of usability. And if we can, work a negotiation such that, you know, we get the most beneficial rates for the longest period of time, I think that would be appreciated by parkers.
You okay with signing this agreement? Or?
Well, this agreement, Rob says he's still negotiating. I mean, I have.
Same terms, you said, 30 cents
Yes, except that it doesn't lock in a rate.
for 1 year.
It doesn't lock in a rate for a year. They can change at any time after we sign the contract, and they would give us a 60-day notice during which we could terminate for convenience. But
Can I stop you there? This is just, we're looking at terms. The agreement itself hasn't been drafted yet, and certainly I would not advise, for legal reasons, the village to enter into an open-ended agreement. And Jeff can attest to this. I have a standard form addendum that I mandate for all contracts going out multiple years, that it's subject to appropriations, and only the village board of trustees can determine what the appropriations are. If you did not appropriate funding for this contract in your budget, they're out, you know, they have to acknowledge their understanding of that. So certainly, you know, we've started our conversations with Park Mobile, but at the same time, we can look around to see if there's competitors. And I think once Park Mobile realizes we're going to be looking at competitors, they might agree to a 1-year extension at the 30.
And that would be perfectly satisfactory. I also like the you know, the notes that I have on the current contract were about the fact that it seems open-ended and price increase at their discretion. So, so that's something I would like to prevent. So if your addendum does that, if competition does that, however it gets done, I'd like to keep that number as low as possible.
Right.
So when you compare it to Hastings' number, so there is probably, I don't know what the reasoning is, but I think since we're comparable, I wouldn't be surprised if they do try to implement a raise in it. Jessica, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just feel like we've put a lot into rolling out this system, and we're still not really done rolling it out. So I think it's fabulous to look around and make sure that we're getting the best possible rate with evidence for that. But I want to kind of not.
Change.
We haven't figured out downtown Wi-Fi. We haven't figured out, you know, there's still a lot of work to do, I think, to get this system that we have refined, and throwing a new app in, I think.
I don't mean to suggest that I'm eager to change. I just think that
Yeah, I hear you.
I am eager to not saddle people parking in the downtown with higher transaction fees.
Absolutely.
And I am aware that they've significantly raised the transaction fees in some other communities already, so it's worth it to look around. I did sit in on a board meeting with one of my other municipal clients recently. And unfortunately, the raise was significant. So as long as, you know, now Rob's worked to get them to agree to this 30 cents, and now we can come to terms on the rest of it, I think.
It would seem wise to both negotiate this contract and to look at alternatives. And, you know, we could have another year at the 30 cents and see if there's something better out there, and if nothing else, generate leverage to get the best deal possible from these guys. I would be hesitant to change parking services right now because of the reasons outlined by Jess.
Yeah, and
Trustee Gallen, I mean.
And keep in mind also that when the transaction fee actually exceeds the cost to park, it makes it more likely that people will not pay to park. So it's really in the village's best interest, and Rob's aware of this, and he's working to get you the best deal. So we'll proceed.
Right, and the fact is that changing vendors isn't going to fix the Wi-Fi or connectivity problem. So, you know, if Rob's already been able to get them to hold at a lot less than other municipalities have, then I think we should continue in that direction, let Rob do his negotiating.
I appreciate that, and we did try to figure out, you know, how their formula works, you know, whether it's based on volume or size, number of spaces. They weren't immediately able to tell me how they arrived at these numbers, especially our neighbor, like in Hastings, was so much, almost double, and if they're willing to keep it competition is always a good thing to have a comparison in my pocket.
Yeah.
So I'll certainly look for other avenues, but they were receptive to negotiating. But right now, it's all in pencil. It's all under discussion.
There was one other thing that I wanted to raise just from reading the contract in Schedule 2, the second paragraph, errors and interruptions. There's language about what we pay if an interruption is our fault, but there is no penalty if Park Mobile goes down for reasons of their own fault. And I just want to point that out as something that you might want to look at.
I'll take a second look at that, sure. Thank you.
Okay, so is there a motion to authorize the village administrator to renew the agreement with Park Mobile for parking payment services, subject to the approval and review of the village attorney? Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee Galen, all in favor? That passes 4.
I'm not ready to say that we should sign this or move forward with it until we've done the diligence of looking at alternatives and seeing if we can, lock in the rate. Is there a reason that since we're still in negotiations, is there a reason we have to authorize moving forward now?
It's expedient administratively not to have to come back here, 3 months later. We're trusting Rob to get the best possible deal.
But what if?
And it's subject to legal review as well. So you have a measure. If we cannot come to terms, then we don't enter into an agreement. We come back with you with another proposal.
Then it's unanimous.
Right. We're not locked in, right?
Okay, so let me just go through that again for Liz's sake. Did the lights blink for a reason, or is that? Oh, great. So we'll try to move this along as quickly as possible, since we're on generator perhaps. So, you have it, all in favor? Okay. Action, Christie, is. Action item number 3 is consider a resolution to approve the Department of Public Works budget transfers. We have a memo from Jennifer Dorman dated January 5th, 2024, explaining what has to be transferred. Jeff, do you want to explain it a little further?
I can explain that, we're looking closely at the budget, and over expended lines have in the past typically been cleared in at the end of the year. It really should happen throughout the year, so that's what we're trying to do here.
Okay, so as opposed to doing this at the end of the year when we make mass budget transfers, we're doing
Correct.
this.
We'll try to be more timely with it.
But it's not costing us anything more. These aren't unexpected expenses coming.
No, they're just, when that budget's put together, it's a guesstimate, a best guesstimate. So they're just moving it between budget codes.
No net increase.
All right, so is there a motion to authorize the Department of Public Works budget transfers as outlined? Trustee Rosen Asher, second. Trustee Taylor, all in favor? That passes unanimously. Action item number 4 is to consider a resolution authorizing the assignment of a retainer agreement for legal representation in labor and employment matters, ratifying the transfer of files. We had a memo explaining what has happened, that the current labor attorney has changed firms, and this resolution that we have before us explains that as of January 1st, he's with another law firm, so we're terminating the agreement with prior law firm and doing another agreement with the new law firm as outlined in the resolution. So is there a motion authorizing assignment of retainer agreement for legal representation in labor and employment matters and ratifying transfer of files? Trustee Taylor, second. Trustee Rosen Asher. That passes unanimously. I just want to make clear, it's the same attorney that we've been working with. He's just simply with another law firm.
And we are highly satisfied with his services.
Action item number 5 is to consider a resolution committing funding to Rivertown's feasibility study of establishing a food scraps curbside collection program. As part of shared services, what the village officials committee have been looking at is coming up with a food scraps program where we can share a truck or either a new truck or a current truck that can go around and pick up food scraps curbside from the Rivertown's villages. So each village is going to commit, I believe, $10,000 for this, to look at the study and see if it can be, if it's feasible. Anything else you want to share with that, Rob?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Basically, it's up to $95,000 split between 7 municipalities with a $25,000 grant put in. So that the total comes to 70,000 plus 25 from the grant. And this is only a feasibility study. So basically, we're just putting this together. I'm going to come back to you and the board with a final contract when it's all said and done. Right now, it's just a feasibility study.
Okay, so is there a motion to,
Can
go ahead, sorry.
we have a discussion?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I'm just curious about how is this, is there a particular firm? Were multiple possibilities for a feasibility study looked at? It just seems like a very high number for a feasibility study, not knowing much about feasibility studies.
I believe the administrator in Irvington was the lead on this, and I think he spoke to different firms who were basically involved with the grant. I think Fiona was helping us with that too. I'm not sure how they arrived at this particular consultant.
It's also 7 communities, so, it's not just one community, it's 7. So I think that's why the number is so high.
I'm just trying to figure, I'm all in favor of, moving forward to help people recycle food scraps. It just seems, I'm just curious what's in the study.
Well, it'll say what here, it tells you here.
Oh, okay, so I missed
Task
that part of
1
the
is to
package.
initiate a comprehensive framework. Number 2 is develop targeting operational strategies for the food scrap pickup. Task 3 is to do a study tailored pickup processing. So there's 4 tasks outlined, and it tells you what each one will cost.
Thank you.
Quite welcome.
I think that, to Sherry's point in the fact that this is 7 villages, the complexity of figuring out things like operationally, like how you would run routes to pick up food scraps, what the needs would be for residents to have dedicated receptacles for food scraps. And I don't know if it's in the study or not, but and I hope it is, but what an education plan would look like to keep the residents informed about how and why this is an important thing. It's certainly a worthwhile thing. You see the white and orange buckets increasingly on curbsides. People are subscribing to that, indicating that that there is a desire amongst the residents. They're voting with their pails. So I think it's a worthwhile thing to do. Like Jessica, I don't know whether this is the right amount of money or not, but I certainly defer to the administrator of Irvington to have done his job.
It feels like a lot of money. So the Sustainable Jobs has a $5,000 grant to be used to promote food scrap recycling. Obviously, much smaller number, much less complex. But, I'm fine if everybody else is.
What we struggled with as the village officials was the truck itself. Would it be a regular garbage truck? Would it be one of the villages, or would the villages alternate? We're using their equipment, so and it is 7 communities, so would it be 1 day a week? What day would that be? So there is a lot of moving parts in that. So,
Okay.
Again, I don't know what the appropriate price is, but I do know the village manager from Irvington has been responsible for investigating this. He has been spearheading it.
And I know that $10,000 from us as an individual village in this consortium, $10,000 is I don't need to think of it as $95,000. I only need to think of it as $10,000.
Plus the cost to implement the program.
Well,
We'll see what that is.
at the end of the feasibility study, it may or may not be feasible.
And Mayor, if I might add, we actually spoke amongst ourselves, the 7 municipalities. We talk regularly. And this one in particular, we spent some time. We asked the consultant to come up with the cheaper version, not much more than the grant offering of 25,000. So there was it wasn't as robust, and we all felt that it wasn't worth the value in our time to do something halfway, so to speak. So he did. This is how they came up with this feasibility study, saying, "Hey, this is more appropriate for what we were looking for." I
Okay,
think Elmsford just approved theirs yesterday.
okay. So is there a motion to commit funding to Rivertown's feasibility study for establishing a food scraps curbside collection program? Trustee Rosenberg, second. Trustee Galen, all in favor? That passes unanimously. Action item number 6 is to consider a resolution declaring a fire department utility vehicle as surplus, authorizing its sale and purchasing a replacement utility vehicle not to exceed $90,000. Earlier today, we had a presentation from representatives of the fire department explaining the benefits of declaring this vehicle as surplus and selling it and buying a replacement vehicle. None of the trustees seem to have any other questions on it, so it seems like it's a smart move, and I think we're ready to move forward with this. So is there a resolution to declare the 2013 Ford 550 Warner Body Mini Rescue as surplus equipment and authorize the purchase of a 2024 Chevrolet Silverado utility truck as a replacement? Trustee Rosenberg, second. Trustee Taylor, all in favor? That passes unanimously. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it. So we sign the offer sheet, or you sign the offer sheet? Rob? Okay, great. Action item number 7 is to consider a resolution authorizing the audit of claims as submitted and recommended by the village treasurer. Jeff, is there anything that we should be aware of?
Just standard audit. Don't think there's anything to, unless you have questions.
No? Okay, so is there a motion to approve the audit, the transfer of funds? Trustee Galen, second. Trustee.
This is the audit of claims.
Audit of claims. Will that just be, okay. Is there a trustee Galen, second. Trustee Rosenberg, all in favor? That passes unanimously. I have to add a resolution. So this is concerning the grant application for the EV charging stations. So is there a motion to add to a resolution to the current agenda regarding the grant application for the 60 EV charging stations? Trustee Rosenberg, second. Trustee Galen, all in favor? That passes. So this now becomes action item number 8. Rob, do you want to talk a little bit about this?
Yes, Mayor, sure. First, I found out right before we left to handle this meeting, the firm of INF retained by the county to work with the county and Con Ed, they did get back to me on the inquiry about Oak Street, the lot, about breaking up the 2 locations we were talking about. They said they were able to move the 4 locations and put them together for a total of 8 EV charging stations on the Cedar Street side for no cost to the village. So all these 4 locations for 60, that's 60 EV charging station ports, it would be no cost to the village. All the trenching would be included, the furnishing and installation of the charging stations. And the application is actually due Friday, which is pretty much complete. Now that I understand that they approved the Oak Street location, once the board gives me the green light, I can submit that tomorrow.
Okay, so this, for the way of background, and I'm sure other people can shed more light on this, based upon the grants that are eligible, where we are eligible for, the village has identified 60 locations for installation of electric vehicle charging stations, and they are going to be located in the 4 locations that I think you outlined, and those charging stations will be classified as under SEQRA as a type 2 action, and it's no cost to the village, as we are going to get these grants from either the Con Ed or from Westchester County. Is that correct?
They're from both Con Ed. Some of the money is from Con Ed, some of it is from the county. Just to be clear to anybody who might be watching at home, if you still have power, these are level 2 chargers.
Correct.
And these are chargers that will be going into Village Hall lot, Oak Street lot, 99 Cedar, and the waterfront lot. And we have some flexibility about designating some of the spaces as not EV only. So we're going sort of bigger on the number of spots now than there might be demand for, knowing that as more and more folks in the village convert to EVs and to hybrid plug-in hybrids, there will be more demand, but not all of those spots need to be immediately converted to solely used by EVs. So there will be a little bit of a nuanced approach to that as they get installed, but this is our chance to get them for free. So it makes sense to do as many as the lots can support at this
Yeah,
moment.
that's a really good point. We're not going to, they're not just taking 60 parking spots away from the village. Some of those spots will be designated for EV chargers, and some at this time will not be. And as trustee Galen said, we'll evaluate it as time goes on.
Some of the spots themselves will be hybrid. And with that, the meeting is over.
So is there a motion to authorize the submission of an application for the grant application with the County of Westchester for reimbursement for 60 EV charging stations? Trustee Rosenberg,
I don't
second.
know, maybe you should,
Second, trustee Galen, all in favor? That passes unanimously.
Shari is so excited she wants to vote twice.
You know, Rob, it's driving me crazy that that's due like Friday, so I've been worried about this. Please, please get that application in.
Yeah, once we have the green light, like I said, first thing in the morning, all I have to do is sign it and off it goes.
you have the green light, don't
Thank you, Rob. Very,
Yeah,
very
and-
excited.
And thank you to Lori Lee and to Valerie to help me put that all together and the secret two determinations and making sure we're doing it right. So thank you, guys.
Great work.
Anybody have any announcements?
I have one quick announcement, if that's all right. Sustainable Dobbs, with the help of the village staff, it's been a great team effort, and the village staff is, in addition to the volunteers on Sustainable, village staff is to be commended for how much extra work they put in to help make this happen. The Sustainable was able to submit a Climate Smart Communities submission, which, if they're accepted, has enough points to get the village silver status. And this is a big achievement that took place with the help from an awful lot of people. It's still tentative, but putting in the application, even of itself, was an amazing effort.
I also would like to thank Liz for all the work that she's done regarding the Toys for Tots. You want to give us a little report on that, Liz?
I don't really have much of a report because I wasn't here for the final pickup, but it was another successful year, maybe a little less than usual, but very successful, and much appreciated the generosity of our residents and neighbors and friends.
Thank you for everything that you've done for that. And if there's nothing further, is there a motion to close tonight's meeting? Trustee Galen, second. Trustee Rosen Asher, all in favor? That meeting is hereby adjourned.
Okay, I'm going home.
Yeah, hope the wind's at your back.
Wish me luck.
Are you out, or was it just a blip?
Vinny, can I grab you for a couple of things? Can I grab you for a second?
The new transformer?
The one that's back here is pretty old. Or be a dead squirrel by the box over there.